Welcome back, fellow students of International Relations. Let's jump right into today's explainer, because we are looking at something absolutely fascinating, the architecture of American hegemony. We're going way beyond the obvious stuff, the tanks, the missiles, the aircraft carriers, to uncover the invisible systems that literally keep America on top.
So here is the central question we really need to answer today. How does America actually control the world? Governments rise and fall, wars start and end, right? But somehow, despite all that global turbulence, the United States just continues to dominate the system. How is that even possible?
Well, think of American power like a massive iceberg. On the surface, you've got the visible power, the military bases, the mighty navy, the formal alliances. But right beneath the surface, that is where the far larger invisible power lives. We're talking global finance, tech infrastructure, and global culture. This is where the abstract controls of modern society are actually pulling the strings. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll deconstruct 5 layers of power. Beyond military might, the dollar empire, soft power and screens, the information advantage, and finally, the power of dependence.
All right, Layer 1, beyond military might.
Now, the sheer geographical scale of this network is staggering. The US doesn't just have the strongest military, it literally has the world's largest military network. Hundreds of bases scattered strategically across Europe, Asia, the Middle East, the Pacific. And those aircraft carriers, they are basically floating military cities. Having this massive infrastructure lets the US project power anywhere on Earth in a matter of hours, securing the vital sea routes that keep all of global trade moving.
But physical bases are really only half the equation. America multiplied its influence by building and leading massive global institutions. Look at the World Bank, the IMF, the G7, and especially NATO. By architecting these alliances, the US directly shapes global security and diplomacy. NATO is absolutely crucial here. It effectively ensures that when international conflicts do pop up, America isn't acting alone. It is a built-in coalition to project a unified, overwhelming front.
Moving deeper, Layer 2, the dollar empire.
We're going below the surface now, because controlling the world's money is honestly way more powerful than waging war. Consider this. Nearly 90% of global foreign exchange transactions involve the US dollar, and massive volumes of international trade are priced in it. When the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, it sends a literal global shockwave. Just look at Argentina, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, or Turkey. They face severe economic crises largely because they are so heavily dependent on dollarized debt.
And that brings us to this quote. The dollar isn't just a currency, it's a global weapon. It sounds intense, but it's totally accurate. When America imposes economic sanctions, entire economies can be crushed practically overnight. Why? Because the basic plumbing of international commerce just doesn't work without access to US dollars.
Next up, Layer 3, soft power and screens.
Soft power is basically the ability to shape global culture, fashion, and political ideas so that people admire your system voluntarily. The ultimate form of control isn't forcing someone to do what you want at gunpoint, it's when the rest of the world genuinely wants to imitate you. For decades, Hollywood exported this globally as the American dream.
And how does that dream spread today? Through our screens. Netflix, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. American movies, music, and media dictate global trends every single day. Even on foreign-owned platforms, US cultural exports usually dominate the conversation. It makes American influence completely automatic. When people voluntarily tune in to consume your culture, your soft power is practically limitless.
Layer 4, the information advantage.
Now we're really in the deep end. Look at this digital infrastructure. Google owns search, Apple controls our devices, Microsoft dominates cloud software, Amazon runs the web's backbone, and Meta owns social communication. Modern businesses and even foreign governments are built completely on top of this American-controlled digital infrastructure. Maintaining this digital dominance provides an unparalleled strategic advantage. You control the tech, you control the future.
But who's actually building all this? That brings us to the global brain drain. America's real economic engine runs on something way more valuable than oil: human talent. Elite universities like Harvard, MIT, and Stanford act like massive magnets, constantly pulling the smartest engineers and scientists from around the world into the US. This constant pipeline of brilliant minds is what actually secures America's long-term tech dominance.
And obviously, all this data collection isn't just for serving you targeted ads. Intelligence gathering and surveillance allow the US to predict threats and influence global events. Operations by intelligence agencies, hooked into some of the most advanced surveillance systems ever built, give the US an insane strategic edge. In high-stakes geopolitics, information is almost always more valuable than physical weapons.
Finally, Layer 5, the power of dependence.
This whole system follows a really fascinating progression. Step 1, attract the world's top talent. Step 2, use that talent to build unparalleled global systems, finance, tech alliances. Step 3, create global dependence on those exact systems. And Step 4, control becomes completely invisible. When the whole world relies on the US to trade, to compute, and to stay secure, blatant dominance just morphs into structural dependence. America's biggest strength isn't fear, it's that the world literally depends on its systems to function.
But, as any student of international relations knows, no global order lasts forever. Just ask the Roman or British empires, right? Today, the foundation of US hegemony is facing massive emerging threats. We're seeing the rapid rise of China actively building competing financial and tech systems. We're watching artificial intelligence completely rewrite the rules of strategic power. And we're seeing coalitions like BRICS testing ways to bypass the dollar-based trade system entirely. If nations successfully reduce their dependence on American finance, the economic and geopolitical shockwaves would be absolutely unprecedented.
So this leaves us with the ultimate question. Will America remain the world's dominant superpower, or are we watching the beginning of a completely new global order? Take a moment to think about the invisible systems surrounding you right now. Understanding them is the key to seeing what comes next. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.